Welcome. Today, we're going to continue learning candlestick analysis, looking at candlestick development and addition. This candle here, you obviously recognize as bullish based on what you learned in previous videos. The bulls have driven the price from the low of the candle here and closed it up near the high of the candle here. Clearly bullish, right? However, consider for a second, this represents a single candle on a daily chart, like the days of the week. Now, what if we drop down to, say, an hourly chart? That same daily single candle might now be made up of 6 hourly candles if you're analyzing stocks. That same price movement that is represented by one candle can also be represented by a greater number of candles from a smaller time frame chart. Let's say this bullish candle is from the daily chart of one of your favorite stocks, Wild Trust Bodega, down there in Atlanta, Georgia. Let's drop down to an hourly chart and see what's really going on with the stock today, the inner workings of this candle. Here, we have 6 hourly candles representing that same price move from the daily open, then going up to the daily close. Now, this process of breaking a candle down into its component parts is called candle development. And candle development gives us greater insight to the sentiment within a candle. For example, let's go ahead and compare 3 different scenarios that could lead to the same bullish candle you see on the left. In this example, the first one we've already looked at, the bullish candle was produced by a single bullish push from the open up to the highs and then stalled at some very solid upper resistance. Whereas in this example, the same candle developed through a different combination of hourly candles. The initial bullish move experiences some bearish retaliation as the bears push it back before the bulls take back control and push the price up into the close. A slightly different scenario from the first in regards to sentiment of a single candle. And here's another. In this example, the same bullish candle develops simply from the price climbing for the full range from the low to the high or the open to the close without any rapid bullish thrust or any bearish rejection of prices. Once again, a slightly different picture from previous examples. Let's look at another example. This candle here, is it bullish or bearish? Well, it's a little difficult to tell. The body is showing a slightly green bullish victory over the bears based on the color, but it has a very small range body and there's significant rejection of higher prices showing strength in the bears and significant rejection of lower prices showing strength in the bulls. Really, no side can claim victory over this candle alone. Could candle development perhaps provide some insight? Of course. Breaking this candle down into its component parts may show, for example, an initial bullish move that is rapidly rejected, but then falls to an area of clear support. The bears then are exhausted and overcome by the bulls, who are able to push the price back to the vicinity of the open. While still not a clear victory either way, the process of candle development has given us clues as to potential areas of intraday support and resistance, and showing us the bulls clearly able to get the final upper hand leading into the close of the candle. Now, contrast that with the same candle developing from a slightly different set of shorter time frame candles. In this case, the exact opposite. An initial bearish move rapidly rejected by the bulls, who drive the price all the way up to a clear area of resistance. The bears made significant opposition here, enough to exhaust all the bulls and then drive the price all the way back down to close just above the open. Once again, we've got great insight to potential intraday support and resistance. And in this case, we can see that the bears finally were able to get the upper hand. By now, you should clearly understand the process of candle development, being the process of breaking a single candle down to its component parts. You'll be happy to know that in part 2, candle addition is really quite simple, being the exact opposite process. In this case, we take a group of candles and combine or add them to produce one single candle. These candles here, through the process of candle addition, from the open of the first candle to the close of the last candle, become this candle on the right and up to the close. This group of candles, through the process of candle addition, moving from the open of the first candle to the high, to the low, and to the close of the last candle, becomes the same candle on the right, from the open to the high, to the low, and to the close. In this sequence of candles, is it bullish or is it bearish? Well, we learned how to analyze a single candle in our last video. So now let's use the process of candlestick addition to produce an equivalent single candle, moving from the open of the first candle to the low and up to the close of the last candle. The process of candle addition produces the candle you now see on the right, with the price from the open to the low and to the close. Now we can easily analyze this single candle on the right. We would describe it as bearish in body, but with rejection of lower prices, indicating bullish. In this case, we don't get a clear indication of one side being in control. Sometimes you will get a clear indication of bullish sentiment or bearish sentiment. Other times you won't. That's right, it's not the Holy Grail. It doesn't always provide us with a definitive answer regarding who's in control, but that's fine. The fact is, depending on where this pattern occurred within the context of the trend, it could be a bullish pattern signal known as a hammer, or it could be a bearish pattern signal known as a hanging man, or it could be nothing at all. And don't worry, because we will cover all of these in future videos. But for now, let's do a quick summary. So, why do we care about candle development and candle addition? Candle development allows us to see the inner workings of a candle. It allows us to see the battle between the bulls and the bears, the constant changing of the sentiment back and forth, and how that resolves over time to develop the final single candle pattern. It also allows us greater insight to the sentiment within a candle. Candle addition allows us to represent a group of candles as one single candle in order to more easily determine the bullish or bearish sentiment of that group. You recall in the last video, we discussed how to determine the bullish or bearish sentiment of a single candle. Well, now, with candle addition, you have the power to determine the sentiment of any sequences of candles. How cool is that? In our next video, we'll wrap up the introduction to candlestick analysis, discussing the stages of candlestick patterns.